artificial intelligence is not going to take the jobs, but it's going to make it so the trainers who actually connect with people on that level, that much more valuable.
Yeah.
And you know, the crappy, like, I mean this in a nice way, but the crappy trainers who are showing up just for a paycheck, just with any other job, you know, you show up to the DOV, you know, they're there for the paycheck. That's it.
Yeah.
Those trainers are going to be quick out.
Hey, fitness fans, welcome back to the Future of Fitness podcast and interview series. This is your host, Eric Malzone, and this is episode number 78, and I talked to Menachem Brodie. And Menachem is out of Tel Aviv, Israel. If you don't know his name yet, you definitely will in the upcoming years. He is one of the world's leader, if not the world's leader, strength coach for cycling. He is also planting a flag in the world of AI and fitness, so he knows a ton about technology. And that's what we talked a lot about in this episode. And he's just a really, really interesting conversationalist. He's got a ton of energy, a ton of passion for the industry. And like I said, he's gonna be a big, big star. So get in early on this guy, learn more about him, contact him, see what he's up to, because he's always looking for collaboration as well. So before I get into the rest of the episode with Menachem, one quick call to action. If you are a fitness professional and you're listening to this and you like to be on a podcast, I'm your guy. I'll take care of you. We'll get you on the Fitness Blitz. You can check it out. It's under iTunes. It's on fitnessprofessionalonline.com, but it's short, 10 to 15 minute interviews. Very to the point, getting people good stuff within the fitness industry. I'm always looking for good guests. And even if you've never been on a podcast or never been interviewed, that's cool. I want to give you a voice. So just reach out to me, Eric Malzone at fitnessprofessionalonline.com, and I'll get you hooked up. So that's Eric Malzone at fitnessprofessionalonline.com. We'll hook you up. So on to the show, number 78 with Menachem Brodie. Menachem Brodie, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to have you. So I know a little bit about you because you and I have had opportunity to talk, a few times. You were on the Fitness Blitz podcast as well. So you guys can go check that out on Fitness Professional Online. Let's give us your story. Give us your story first, kind of where you are now and what you're doing, and then we'll get into some really, really fun stuff.
So right now I'm doing a lot of business consulting, especially fitness technology like AI. So LifeBeam, Physimax, two things on the cutting edge. The first AI technology for runners, like you're actually getting coached. And the Fitness Blitz podcast, you guys definitely have to check that out. There's tons of gold mine over there and it's quick. But I kind of got here, I took the long road, the road less taken, where I started off in basketball and powerlifting. We're getting ready for my wedding here and found a picture of me with my first powerlifting coach, may rest in peace. And I'm just like, wow, I was so young and so naive. Like if I only knew what I knew.
Right.
So I've kind of, I went from competitive athlete, and you spoke about this on one of yours and your own personal experiences. Like you became like this competitive CrossFit athlete, and it's like, where am I competing for? Like, where am I going? And that's kind of where I've gone. And sometimes my coach has to remind me, like, who are you competing with? I'm like, myself. I'm competing with myself. That's my race.
Right.
So that's the background, man. I've been international for 5.5 years now, working as a fitness business, health and fitness technology engineer, and just coaching people. Basketball, powerlifting, and cycling are my main sports.
Cool. So that's, you just said something I've never heard, a health and fitness technology engineer. Like what does that mean exactly for us lay people over here?
So I like I said at the beginning, I'm just blazing paths, taking the road less taken. That's kind of, me and my mentor sat down and he's like, give me your elevator speech. And I'm like, da, 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 da. He's like, no, let's figure this out. And so health and fitness technology engineer, I'm taking what we have as the best coaches that we've practiced, and we're putting it into technology. So taking the health and fitness technologies and engineering so that the AI, whatever you want to call it, the apps are going to be smarter, better. So it's taking the knowledge and experience of the last 18 and a half years in fitness and putting it into like small, concentrated, focused nuggets that can be used immediately. And then it can kind of grow from there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So let me dive into this a little bit deeper. So what is like, for Menachem, and you're in Tel Aviv, by the way, right?
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting tidbit for people to know. Like, what is a typical day? Like, how does that unfold for you? If there is such a thing as a typical day?
I think there's like an average day. And I would say I have two different types of day during the week. Well, three. Saturdays I'm off. I don't work. Although like we spoke about before, if the computer or phone's next to us, we kind of my work is my love. So I wind up reading books like all the time on the weekends and that are related. But outside of Saturdays, and that's something I learned the hard way. Like out of college, I was working like 7 days, 16 hours a day. I was working on an ambulance, 24-hour shifts as an EMT. Like
Wow.
I was working, I was like I said before, like I'm in the grind. Yeah, I'm doing it. And it's just, bloodshot eyes. But a typical day now is on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I'm usually up somewhere between 5:30 and 6. Twice or once a week I have cycling. So I'm out with the team, out the door at 6:15, on the bike till about 9. And then after that, either I'll come home, shower, quick breakfast, and then out for personal training sessions until around 1. Okay. And I've kind of managed to schedule in a buffer between 1 and 3, 1 and 4, so I can get training plans done, blog posts. And then again, from 4 to 7, those 3 days I'm training again, sometimes 8. The other type of day is waking up around 7:30. I try and get up. I'm trying to get out of the habit of reaching for the phone first thing. Usually I turn off the alarm, and now I'm actually picking up a book twice a week, which is better, Kindle, reading for like 15 minutes, getting up, making coffee. And I try and end my days early, but like I said, everything's like, this is the time of year right now. We're in July. I get to make courses. So I'm usually tied to the computer, to be honest, to like 9:30, 10. Okay. And then it's, kind of like, the one day turns into the other. Like today, I was like, today's Wednesday. Oh shit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I do that all the time.
Yeah. But I try and take, like in the fall, we have the Jewish holidays. So I've always taken off for like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So it's always a downtime. People are always traveling. Even my non-Jewish clients, it's like the fall is a transition period for them. So I usually wind up having a downtime, and I complain sometimes, like, man, I just want to be busier. But at the same time, it's like, now I have clarity. Like I can go back through the last year. Like, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What did I really, can I swear? Is that okay?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay. Like, what did I fuck up? Like, how did I royally fuck up in the last year? How does it that nobody knows about it, or how does everybody know? Yeah. So I try and walk, everything's in pendulum, fitness, life. I just had a conversation with one of the basketball players this morning. Oh, I'm eating healthy, organic. I'm like, dude, like USDA organic is only 70% organic ingredients. Like you don't even know the shit that's in there. So it's that pendulum. Right. Like there's all this stuff. But yeah, like I try and walk the line with at least one day a week outside of Saturdays that I have like either a middle of the day for like 5 hours where I can just sit. Usually I go to a cafe and work. But if I choose to, I can come home and like take a nap or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, man. And that's, you've achieved it. And how old are you, Menachem?
34.
34. Yeah. So you've achieved a certain level of, entrepreneurial freedom at an early age, relatively early age. So you position yourself too, or you've evolved into, very much a thought leader in the cycling community too. Can you talk about that, how that evolution has happened and kind of what you see your current role as in that community?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Like I started young, man. I started like, I remember clipping out like articles from Men's Health from like 6th grade, 7th grade. It's like, I don't consider myself being in the fitness profession until I was 17 and started working the floor at the JCC in Pittsburgh. Okay. But a lot of my mentors are like, dude, at 15, you were like writing your own training programs and helping your friends. So that counts. Like that's literally what I was doing. Like,
right.
I trained to be a hockey goalie and realized, hey, I don't have hips that move that way. So that's not going to work. Right. But how I got into cycling, man, it's really interesting. I started riding my bike to and from. I was working as a lifeguard for the city of Pittsburgh in Bloomfield. And one of my best friend's brothers actually recommended I get a bike because like I tried taking the city bus in Pittsburgh. Public transportation is awful. Like unless you're on the 61C or like the 71, like nothing moves. You have to wait a half hour. So I wound up riding to and from, and I just fell in love with it. Like riding home, it was always a sprint there. College student working as a lifeguard, you have to be there at 1. You're like, oh my God, why am I at work so early? So like doing the sprint in the middle of the day, but like you work at a pool, so you get there. I remember one day, like literally like on the verge of like heat exhaustion, just jumped in the pool for like 15 minutes. Yeah. I just fell in love with it coming back, and my true passion is riding it in the evening, which is counter to what most cyclists love, is getting up early.
Yeah.
And from there, the first 4 or 5 years, I was just riding, experimenting, trying different shit. I was the guy showing up to group rides on a mountain bike, a hardtail mountain bike. So I had like a 28-pound mongoose. I was always the last person up the climb until I found out there are tires that are called slicks that are more like road tires. And then I was like the second to last person.
Yeah.
And it, like, my thing started kind of like Cressy, man. Like how do I become one of the fast guys? Like, I suck. How do I get better? And I just started like reading a bunch of books and putting my own training plans together. And over the next 4 or 5 years, I got serious. My best friend, Yoni, his brother, Ari, was a road cyclist. He was a rower, college one at Rutgers, D1. And I just got into it with them, man. And from there, the first 5 years of my career, I actually dropped into it by accident. I was frustrated with the prospects for work. I graduated in December, which was great for me. I stayed an extra year because one specific professor, I had reconstructive shoulder surgery. He made me take the midterm on Vicodin. And like I told him, I was like, I have had surgery. I am on major painkillers. Can you give me 3 days? He's like, no, just don't take the painkillers. It's like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
So I failed the class. And this is one of the things, and my fiance just said the other day, like, you have all these books to like help yourself, but you still like, sometimes you struggle with it. And I got really bitter. I reread Norman Vincent Peale's Power of Positive Thinking. Which I had read the first time after getting a massive speeding ticket when I was like 19. We won't go into that, but I was very fortunate. The officer was like, he was so nice. He's like, he pulled over immediately. He didn't ask any questions. He understood. So every fuck up I've had is just like, okay, I'm upset. And then like figuring out like, okay, this isn't constructive. It's not what happens to you. It's how you react.
Right.
So I got an offer from the Department of Justice to be a manager through Ari in Washington, D.C. And at first I was super pumped. Like, they called me, they're like, all right, we're going to offer you like $45,500. I was like, oh, that's awesome. It's Thursday. I always like to sit on big decisions. I'll call you tomorrow at 3. And the guy's like, okay, we really need to know. So I was like really excited. And I ran downstairs. I was living at my parents'. And I'm like, Dad, I just got an offer for like $45,000 in DC to be a manager. And my dad's like, you do realize that the cost of living is different there. I was like, what do you mean? Greenhorn. Like, oh, what do you mean? And we did the math, and I'm like, holy shit. And I called up Ari. I was like, dude, how do you make it by? He's like, I'm living with 7 dudes in a 5-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
Yeah. I called them back. I was like, I really need to have like at least rent covered. Can you come up to 52? They came up to 48.5, and he's like, look, if you want to have personal training clients, like, you can. They have to be DOJ employees, but we won't ask any questions. Like, you need to give the gym the insurance fee, but other than that, whatever you want. So I thought about it over the weekend. I'm like, man, I do not want to work 16-hour days, because I have to be there to open and coach the spinning class at 7. And I have to be there to coach the step aerobics class at 6. Like, that's a 14-hour day plus personal training. No way. No job, no perspectives, exercise science degree. And I walked into the bike shop to look for a road bike. I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to do something for myself. I've saved up. I'm going to go get a road bike. And the owner of the shop, Glenn Pollock, he actually kind of talked me into it. He let me come to the conclusion that this is what I should do. The logical next step is to be a cycling coach.
Right.
There's nobody in Pittsburgh that's doing it for road cycling. Why wouldn't you? I'll give you space. You give me 10% of or 15% of each dollar you make, and we're all good. I'll give you the space. Didn't even think about it, man. I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. All right. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but cool. Took the USA Cycling online exam, signed up immediately for the level 2. Got that 6 months later. Opened the studio. It was painted by myself and Samson and Nemo, 2 of my friends. And since then, I'm just like, this is the short story, believe it or not. Like, there's so much other shit that went on. Like personal training, all this other stuff. NSCA, CSCS. I had an offer to coach at Manhattan College as a Division I basketball coach. Barry Rorson made the offer to me. And again, I was like, it doesn't pay my living costs. I don't know what I'm going to do when the dorms are closed. Like, I don't want to, I love coaching basketball, but I don't want to be a martyr anymore, because I was totally one of those guys. Tony Solisi, he's the athletic trainer at Pitt. He really took me under his wing, and he's like, you need to stop doing this. Like, it's great that you want to do all this stuff for the team, but there's a limit. Like, every time I see you, you're hopped up on coffee. Yes, you're working as a barista, so you get it for free, but that's just not healthy. I'm hopped up on coffee. He's like, it's not healthy. It's great. It's that you have this passion. there's also no one, nobody cares about a martyr. Like once you're gone, someone else will come along. So, be smart. And again, just like Glenn did, he let me do my thing. But he kind of gave me that little prod, and that led to Tim Belts, who's a great friend and mentor as well. Over the years. I was a men's basketball strength and conditioning coach at Pitt for like a decade and a half or something like that. And he's really helped. And at this point, I'm just at the point in my career the last 2 years. Like I started off the first 5 years, I'm like, man, I really want to share like what I know with people. And I'm like, I have no experience. How can I talk about this when I've only done it with one athlete? Like that, I can't tell other people what to do. And as I have a problem with other coaches and trainers being like, oh, I'm just out of school. Let me teach coaches how to coach. Like, dude, unless you were in physical therapy or something else, like learn, like go through, refine. Ray Dalio has a great book called Principles. Even though it's finances, I strongly recommend personal trainers read it. Like it's a guideline of how do you become an excellent trainer? You have your own system, you have your own principles, and over time you refine them. And so at this point, I just see myself as having this responsibility to share with people the experience that strength training for cycling and triathlon is so instrumental. And we've seen a complete 180 of the mindset in that specific population. I talked with Harvey Newton, who actually wrote the first book on strength training for cycling. Great guy. And he's like, people just they didn't want to hear it. He's like, you're going to have some luck because I see CrossFit is getting people to realize you can be an endurance athlete and be strong, or you can be strong and have endurance. You're not going to be awesome at both if you're like doing too much of one or the other. But, so the last 3 years in particular, just a completely total like flip. So I'm at that point where like I've been grinding for 4.5, 5 years since I came to Tel Aviv. And I'm just trying to like, how do I build it so that people are going to want to engage with it? So I love video. Like I love creating shit. I love creating content. My problem is that I'm still at the point in my career where like, okay, I've got this consulting gig. And then as Seth Godin says, you should always look for a job before you need it. So like, that consulting gig comes to an end and I'm like, oh, so let's move to the next one. They're like, actually, we're going to shift here. And you're like, shit. So it's like finding that balance of like just enough income that I have the freedom to create. But like I'm presenting at the USA Cycling Coaches Summit in November this year. I've done a bunch of webinars, their most attended webinar ever. So that's the point, is like helping coaches understand, personal trainers, strength coaches, and cycling coaches and triathlon, to understand how do we get everything together. And that's where like the health and fitness technology engineer kind of comes in, is like, how do we take this that's really, if we want to call it a silo, as Ben Ruder does, and this is a silo, and how do we get the cross-contamination to happen, because they'd be fucking amazing, pineapple, apple pen kind of shit.
Yeah. And that's, man, I couldn't agree more. And, one of the missions that we have with Fitness Professional Online is getting people out of the silos within the industry, because, having come from, a decade of CrossFit, owning a facility for the large majority of that time and coaching it, and seeing and going to all of the certifications within that small world, people in that world, and you're listening, I know you're all listening, it's all the same ideas circling in a little, in a cycle. As soon as I stepped out of it and I started talking to people like you, right? Or, you name it, the kettlebell guys, or, the yogis, whatever it is, there's so much shared knowledge that can take place. But I don't know what is it the communication? Is it simply the walls that we put up in between the groups? Like, I don't know. What do you think it is? What's stopping the cross, pollination of the groups?
Have you ever seen the cartoon of, there's two people standing opposed to one another, and on one side you can see it's a 6, the other it's a 9?
No, but I can imagine it.
Okay. Yeah. I'll send it to you. There's also a great story about Charles Schwab and similar, but and actually we had this in the weekly Bible portion is called the Sedra. So we had it in the Sedra a couple of weeks ago, where it specifically says that each of the tribes of Israel had a different view of the Mishkan, or the traveling tabernacle. And the whole point of it, one of the commentaries is Maimonides, and he says, it's either him or Rashi, said that what this is telling us is we all have different views and we're all right.
Yeah.
Like none of us, like, let's not kid ourselves. Like the dude who's doing like barbell back squats on the Bozu ball, like, oh, this is functional for cycling. Come on, dude. Like,
Thank you.
We can all agree, like it's really fucking cool.
Right.
Why?
Right.
I think that's what it is. We kind of get into this thing, and I'm totally guilty of it, man. I'm totally guilty. My first part of my career, I was like, the research isn't out. We don't know. Like, we can't say it. And then like 3 weeks later, like, hey, I saw this research article that proves like this is like, yes, we're going to do it 100%, like all in. And I'm going like back and forth. Sorry, I'm getting excited here.
Yeah. It's great.
But like, I'm going back and forth. And about 2010, I ran into my first powerlifting coach, Dr. Joel Alkoff, may rest in peace. And he was going through chemo. Now, where did I see him? I didn't go to the hospital and drop a patient off. Why would I see him there? Why would I see Doc in a logical place? He's going up Fifth Avenue on a 10-speed mountain bike, not wearing a shirt, with his chemo bag, 2 blocks up from the hospital in the middle of the day in July. And I'm just like driving my car. I'm like, holy fuck, it's Doc. And I like ran up next to him like, Doc, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, oh, they got me back in chemo again. I was like, fuck that. I need to go ride my bike. So I just went out and took my bike. And like, so he stopped and had coffee. Which he did not appreciate. Like, he's like, oh yeah. And then like 10 minutes in, he's like, all right, my heart rate's dropping. I got to go. But he's like, look, everything's a circle. Everything's right. We're always going to go in extremes. And you have to recognize that other people are also right. Everybody, and this is where I learned that immense lesson of every single person is a study of one. Everybody is different. So you can have, it worked fantastic for Eric, but let's go to Josh, and it just completely fucks Josh up. And you see it with CrossFit. You see it with cycling, like high cadence drills. I have 4 women right now. They just can't handle the high cadence. They can do fast pedals, but they can't be super high. Their knees get swollen. Their hips bother them. And I think that's where it is. It's not just, the silos we have that are going on where we're sharing the same information, but people like that. I mean, people love like, oh, find more information that proves me that I'm right. And you see it now, like being afar from it. When I moved away from the States, like I'm apolitical. Like I'm like, it doesn't matter, man. Whoever I vote for, if they don't get in, that sucks, but you have to live under it. Regardless of who it is, I've seen such a giant divide politically. Like I have friends who are liberals and conservative, best friends. When I left, they won't even fucking talk to each other. One of them put a post saying, I unfriended and blocked so-and-so. And I call him like, dude, what's going on? And he's like, oh, he fucking loves so-and-so. I'm like, that's the whole point of dialogue, man. And that's what we're missing in the fitness industry. It's not that bad, but some people like Ido Portal came out with the 30-minute things. And people were asking me like, oh, what do you think about the 30-minute squat challenge? I'm like, if you have the range of motion or you're healthy, it's not necessarily bad, but you have to use your brain. Like if you start getting tingling or whatever else, like you got to stop. So then you have these people, oh, Ido Portal is ruining knees. And then you have the other people who are like, no, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. The answer is you're both right.
Yeah.
It depends. So yeah, it's the silo. It's how many pages, oh, you're an exception. How many pages did I go to online looking for fitness stuff 10 years ago? Let's do 5 years ago. 6.
Yeah.
How many to go to now? About 50, 60, and they change. I have my core like 4 or 5, but it changes. And most people aren't like that. They're like, oh, I just follow this one. I follow what Louis says. Like Louis fucking fantastic, man. But there's some things where it's completely the wrong thing for the person. Yeah. So it's like, you got to break out of your comfort zone. Be a chameleon. Like you can do a deadlift, a hinge pattern with a band. You can do a body weight. You can do kettlebell. You can do barbell. You can do hanging off the edge of a cliff with someone holding your legs. Like,
Yeah. And it's pretty, it comes to a very simple point too, is if someone brings up some kind of methodology or, system, or even just as simple as one single movement, right? Which you get all the time, like that movement's terrible. Well, what? No, it's just in the context in which you use it and who you use it for. But if you challenge somebody, and challenges may not be the right term, one of two things come out. You either get an argument or a discussion. And what we want is more discussions, right? Okay, cool. Well, let's critically think about this. Who would this work for? Why would it not work? And in what situations is this correct for application? But too many times what happens amongst the silos, it just turns into a huge fucking social media argument, right? And it's like, okay, now we're going nowhere. In fact, we're going backwards again. And maybe we should stop. But people can't stop. And you see it happens all the time. It's just like, I'll see these threads, especially when I was in the CrossFit Affiliate Owners Group. Whew, man, these threads of just like, like really, you guys, like, it looks like you guys have been on this thread for 2 hours today, talking about, whether or not, you should do what kind of kettlebell snatch is appropriate for a CrossFit, class. Like, who gives a fuck? Yeah. And it's just, so here's a key point, because I know this is your wheelhouse, and I'm sure, a lot of people would really, really like to know your insights, because I talked to, Michael Bledsoe about this as well. But AI, man, how is that what is going on there? What's the difference between what we perceive through media, entertainment, and what's the real situation with AI? And where do you currently, like, what's the current state, and where do you see us going with all this?
As with everything, like we talked about, when you get it to extremes, it's going to be bad. Like you always have that.
Right.
It's about finding the right place. Like, there's so much that's going on. Like I just helped, there's a young trainer here, and she posted, I know her personally, and she works out of the same facility as I do sometimes. And she posted last night, hey, I'm trying to change my Facebook page and it won't let me. I just keep, the bot keeps sending me back around. I was like, yes, that's pretty much where customer service is right now. Like Facebook customer service is like taking a tennis ball and throwing it down a dark alley. Like, is it going to come back? Is it going to come back with a vicious dog, or someone kind and polite can be like, hey, this ball just came down. Is this yours? Or are you going to be chased out of there by bats, right? So that's kind of the extremes we're looking at. Then you have other sites where it's very well groomed, because it matters the amount of work that we put into it and what we think of it. And this is something that's really, really cool. And I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but I watched your interview with Foundation, Eric Goodman. So I'm gonna go on that kind of tangent if that's cool. Like whatever we decide something's going to be, like the number of times, and we've seen this with the split theory. Wherever you think the atom is going to go, the molecule is going to go, that's where it shows up. As soon as you don't look, it's randomized. The computer shows it's randomized. It doesn't matter. As soon as you look, then it goes through the slit on the right or the left. And I see that a lot with, psychology. And I think that's where artificial intelligence is going. And I know that sounds like, what the hell is he talking about? What's the connection between AI and
right? You'll clear it up here in a second. Yeah.
But I like to cliffhanger, like the little cat on the hang in there.
Open loops. Yeah, open loops.
Yeah.
Call marketing. Yeah.
So the connection is artificial intelligence can be your biggest advocate or your biggest bane of your existence. For a lot of people, and that's one of the challenges that we have, is as we're developing it, if we develop it with one specific people in mind, an audience in mind, it's going to do fantastic in that setting. But it has to come along with the psychology of understanding where that person is. And as artificial intelligence grows, the emotional intelligence and the ability to connect with someone on a psychological level as a human being is going to be so much more valuable. And because of this thing, like Snapchat, Instagram, and again, I'm just as guilty of it as an ex-person, but there have been times where my fiance is like, seriously, get off your fucking phone. Like, this is enough. And she's totally right. And I'll look at her like,
they usually are.
Yes. I'm learning that the hard way, They bring up the best in us, but we just don't know it. But that's the thing is Snapchat. Like, think about the focus, the ability to focus of teenagers working with these teenage basketball players. Like, nope, hey, here. Yeah. Oh, look, it's a bird. And that's, artificial intelligence will help people be able to be more adherent. I know some people are saying it'll build in some healthcare systems are doing this now with walking. I just had there was a business manager here from Portland, and she's wearing what's it called? The pedometer. So if she gets 15,000 steps, which for her is nothing, she gets a 15% discount each month. If she averages 15,000 steps, that's where AI is going to help us. But the thing is what we're missing is, and this is where technology becomes a crutch. Like, so many trainers are just like, yeah, just send me your FitnessPal and I'll is it right? Why are you putting on weight? I don't know. Show me my FitnessPal. Wow. Yeah. You're eating a lot. Like, is she actually eating that much? And I say there's a specific person where we got rid of the app. Best thing we ever did.
Yeah.
She's like, I just write it down by hand and I use the hand size principle with precision nutrition, like revolutionized. And she was so excited. Like, I have an app and it's AI and it tells me when I need to eat. Like, okay, cool. But if I didn't have the emotional intelligence and the psychological ability, or the ability to make that psychological connection with her as a trainer, I'm out.
Yeah. And
if I recall correctly, he spoke about that. Bledsoe spoke about that. And also, you're going to see, artificial intelligence is not going to take the jobs, but it's going to make it so the trainers who actually connect with people on that level, that much more valuable.
Yeah.
And the crappy, I mean this in a nice way, but the crappy trainers who are showing up just for a paycheck, just with any other job, you show up to the DOV, they're there for the paycheck. That's it.
Yeah.
Those trainers are going to be quick out. I think that's where we're going with it. And the ability that it's going to have to ping us and remind us is going to be better. But are we going to be able to shut off that screen and actually be able to recover? Like, there are numerous studies now, 2 to 3 hours before bed, you shouldn't be looking at a screen, not a computer, not a cell phone, not a TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about myself, like me, I'm struggling for a half hour before bed because I'm like working US hours also. I'm like, oh, I got to get this email out. I'm like, oh shit, it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, buy those glasses that shield out the yellow. Like, it's not the yellow, it's not the blue light. It's the whole point of staring at a screen.
Right.
And I think that's where we're struggling. Like, singularity, I joke with people, like, we already have singularity because this is like my third arm, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And that's a problem. And I think that's where, as a society, and having moved out of the US, I see a lot less technology here, in the sense that people aren't as clingy to their phones. Like, the teenagers here are just getting to where the teens were back in 2012 when I moved.
Right.
And it's huge. Like, physical literacy at most schools in the US is nil.
Right.
Like, do a push-up. Okay. Maybe they know what a push-up is because they see Rocky do it or in the movies, whatever it may be. But other than that, they have no clue. Like, Yeah. However, they're fast because, when it comes to junk food, they're like Nicolas Cage, gone in 60 seconds.
Yeah. It's, we talk about the state of youth in the United States, and we had Jeff Martin from Brand X on this show a long time ago as well. And, some of the cases and the statistics that he's telling me about, how many people forget about a push-up, just being able to sit up straight and having the core strength to do something like that is completely, the children are becoming reformed, like literally, like everything, like, you look 2 generations down the road, we're going to look completely different. We're going to hunch back, our arms are going to be shorter, our necks are going to be protruding. And that's just the way we're going to evolve, because that's going to be the easiest way to go. And that's just a scary thing. And I just don't know if it's like, obviously we're going to fight that fight, right? We're going to fight.
It's already happened. It's already happened, man.
Yeah. Is it, are we too gone? Like, is it like, to bring up another like global warming, is it just, all right, have we passed that point yet? I don't think we have when it comes to, our physical stature as human beings and the youth fitness, but that's just an interesting thing. It's like, well, at what point does it get to the point where it's we can't come back?
I think we're already down that. I believe it was Dr. Kathy Dooley who's doing fantastic stuff with anatomy, immaculate dissection. I'm pretty sure she posted an article. I didn't save it, unfortunately. This is before the save tab on Facebook, but she showed a anatomy book from, I want to say like 1912, and it was a drawing of the human spine. And there was another one from 1978, or Netter. So like 1980s, early 80s maybe.
Yeah.
And the curvature for the lumbar spine in the early 1900s was almost non-existent. And the article was showing, like, when you look at tribesmen, when they did x-rays, they did a portable x-ray of tribesmen in like South Africa or something like that. This lumbar spine had almost no curvature to it, just like the early 1900s. So we're already seeing that shit happen. I mean, the kids that I have now for the basketball players, like I have one today, he finally starting to get running technique. He's a mess. But when you look at him when he's hanging out on the side, like, no shit. Like, our body's going to do what we want to do most of the time. And if it's lay around and text like this or watch TV, yeah, that's what's going to happen. But that also leads down to another part where I think a lot of trainers need to be. And that is learning about posture and breathing. Like, it was one of those things, like one of my friends mentioned to me, like he's learning about breathing, like from yoga. And he got me a book called Breathing. I forget what her name is, who wrote it. It's actually very well written. It's all old school pictures, sketches. And I was just enamored. And I started doing this shit on the bike. I actually made a video for my YouTube channel called Crocodile Breathing for Cyclists. And just simple breathing patterns for like 5 minutes a day, man. When I first started having my hip injury, my whole story is like I have femoral acetabular impingement. I was becoming more competitive as a cyclist, massive hip injury. That's how I became a great strength and conditioning coach for cyclists. And I had somebody today, she's really kind of her. She's like, you are the best strength and conditioning coach I've ever had. Forget cyclists. She's been an athlete all her life. Awesome. She's in her 60s. She's doing the Bike BC. And she's like, you need to put yourself out there for cyclists. Anyhow, we just did breathing exercises. That's all I did. And that got me on the right track. Tony just posted about the rings. I forget who he quoted for that, but line the rings up. I think Mike Reinold maybe. Okay. The different diaphragms. There's a funny story about Tony. I'll tell you about it after. But breathing. Like that's the cutting edge. Fucking really?
Yeah.
Breathing?
And it is. I mean, yeah, it really is. I see so many, well-established coaches are now like yourself, just like, oh wait, like I need to take a second look at breathing. And now they're like, courses are coming out, like whole things about, and I was on a conversation with somebody who she's coming out with a course as well. And I was like, yeah, when I focus on my breathing and belly breathing, she's like, no. And she just lit off on me for 20 minutes. She's like, belly breathing's wrong. And I was like, holy shit. Like I'm embarrassed that I don't know this, but it's like, it's the next non-tech that's going to help help people get healthier and live better. I mean, Wim Hof is just the start, right? That was like the big, he's going to be like the Kleenex of breathing, most likely, right?
And Feldenkrais, like I found a couple of his books and I'm just like reading it. I'm like, holy shit. If I found this like 4 years ago, man, like some of the athletes that and we talked about this before, I don't keep my roster of athletes the same. I try and like teach them and have them develop away from me and use me as a consultant. But if I had, and some of them are coming back to me now, thankfully, but I'm like, man, this is like the Feldenkrais method. This is what you need to do. Yeah. And they're like, that Feldman fluffer thing is working for me. But the posture, and a lot of it came from the female athletes I had on the bike, postpartum. That's where it started. Postpartum triathlete, postpartum cyclist, and having immense pain. They came to me as bike fitters, then as a bike fitter, then they came as a coach. They converted to that, and then strength training. And the big thing is like I got into Dr. Sarah Duvall's course, postpartum corrective exercise specialist. Yeah. Most of that stuff I apply to my male cyclists, and it's like magic, man. It's like EBGB. It's like, poof. Yeah, and it's incredible. It's the basics. And we just think we're so smart. Like, well, the conjugate method, people ask me, what method do you use for strength training? I'm like, depends. They're like, oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm like, no, it really depends. Some people I'm doing Michael Yesis. They're like, the 1x20 guy, why would you do that? I'm like, well, the kid's out of college and he's never lifted a weight. So yes, it's going to work really well. Yeah. So that goes back to what we were talking before, like Michael Yesis, the conjugate method. You have all like the periodization, the 3 on 1 off is one of like, I think 45 that Bompa talks about in periodization for sport and training. There's 45 different methods, but everybody's 3-1. Why? Right. No, we don't know. Yeah. And you're right. And, the more experienced the coach is, and this goes for any type of coaching, whether it be strength, sport specific, business coaching, whatever it is, any type of coach, the more experienced they are, when you ask them a question, almost surely the answer is, well, it depends. And then comes 30 more questions right after that. Right. And that's like, but it seems like people are like, well, that's a cop out. No, it's not. It's just honest, because I could sit here and be like, well, conjugate, blah, right? Yeah, of course. And here's why, because I'm so fucking smart. But that's, I always notice that's the trainer who's probably 1 to 5 years in. Right. And then they get past that point. They're like, oh God, I don't know anything. And then the real search begins, right? Then the seeker comes out. So it's always great. I love it depends. It's my favorite. I love people with it. I'd even tie back. I think that's where a lot of trainers wash out, where they're like, why aren't my clients seeing results? They're doing the same thing I'm doing. Yeah. And you're like, like bomb headband. Like that's seriously the reaction. I just did it tonight. I was in front of there's a teaching a personal training school that's attached to the gym that my business partner and I use. And I'm sitting there doing the basic hip series. This woman came to me. I knew her from when I came to language school. She's going to wind up having ACL repair. Like we did a couple sessions, but she's like far gone. Like she needs it. So we're doing the basic hip series, and the immense amount of potency that has. I started doing this back in 2008, and I went to see Lauren Landau, and he was fantastic. I just messaged him like, hey, I'm wondering if I could just pop in sometime. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. And I walk in, and they're doing the exact same fucking hip warm-up series. And I'm like, here's one of the best speed and agility coaches doing the same thing I'm doing. Yeah. And it's like the trainers are all interested. The other trainer that's there is having like his clients, like they're running with like 28 kilo dumbbells for farmer's walk. And he's like, oh, good job. Go faster. I'm like, oh my God, that's not the point of the exercise. And meanwhile, other students are like, oh, they're using 28s. Can you do that? And they're picking them up. And meanwhile, I'm here. I'm like, yo dog, check this shit out. This is where you're going to see results. Yeah. And they just want to learn the cool stuff, the flashy stuff. Yeah. Texas method. Oh, the Texas method is the shit. The Wendler method. Like dude,
right?
find what works. But I think that's the problem. And that's where artificial intelligence will help also, tying it back. Like, these apps are going to be able to say, try this. This is what we see from your Google Health app, from your Apple Health app, that the way you tend to walk or these injuries, instead of doing 5-3-1-1, you should be doing the Michael Yesis approach, because the 20 will help build and like, that's where we make that leap forward, where it will open up the eyes to the average person. Like, there's so many different methods out there, and you shouldn't know all of them, but you should be aware that they're out there.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to help everybody. Kind of deal.
Yeah. So Menachem, when you look at, like, let's think about somebody's listening right now and they're good trainer, right? But they want to stay on top of AI. They want to be around in 20 years and they want to be at the forefront of the industry and doing good work, right? What should they be paying attention to right now when you look at AI? Like, what should they start, like what kind of, what kind of work should they start doing to get familiarized with maybe a certain piece of technology or software or whatever it is to make sure that they're progressing? Because it's going to happen so fast, it's going to be impossible to stay up to date. But what can they be doing today?
Got some good questions, man.
Yeah. I'm like pen and paper. Like, okay, I'm gonna do it right after this call. I'm gonna do whatever Menachem says.
Don't be afraid to be an early adopter. I think that's one of the first things. Like, for me, I have the Leomo here. This is like pods that tell us motion analysis on the bike. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Like, we don't want to jump in full force. And that, again, I'm totally guilty of it. There was an article posted, a research article that was strong back in the early 2000s, that drawing in your stomach was the best. So I was squatting with, 235 on my back, hollowing. And now we have all these studies saying, oh, that's wrong. That's completely wrong. You're going to injure yourself. Yeah. Don't be afraid to jump in. I think that keeping an eye, there's so many apps that are released that they're kind of junk. Like, you have to be really careful. And Via's had to battle that. And that's where people didn't want to buy the headwear. And when I say we, the company went to great lengths to buy the best possible sound and to make the battery last as long as possible, but being light. Nice. But people are like, oh, I don't need the hardware. I'm just going to take my own headphones. But the level was completely different. So number one, look at not just the app and what it's offering, but look at the apps that are coming out. Who's doing new shit? Who's trying stuff that hasn't been done before? And read the reviews. And that's one of the things that I've done. There's 2 apps that I just downloaded. PT Helper is one. He's actually from Pittsburgh. He's taken the old PT. Remember, you go to physical therapy and they give you a paper with like all your stuff on it? Yeah. So he's put that onto the app. And I think that has a lot of opportunity to grow. The other is look at cross. Like, what are other things that are out there? Morpheus is another one. Pump Up is another one. Like, don't just look in your niche, but look for other apps that are out there and try and think, like, how would I use this? Right. And I know that's not really a clear answer. It goes back to, it depends. Yeah. But the bottom line is, there's nothing new under the sun. There really isn't. Even though we think we're doing all this stuff, like the ancients knew far more about nature than we did. Like, if they saw our modern farming practices, they'd probably want to, cut everything down and burn it because it's all wrong. For sure. When it comes to fitness apps and the future of technology, as a trainer right now, you have 2 responsibilities. Number one is you need to go out and try stuff and see what works. Like, look, who's just building an app and trying to turn it over and make big bucks selling it to Google, and who's actually who's calling you or emailing you like, hey, thanks for downloading the Morpheus app. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're going to use it for? And then you send it back and there's an actual person like, thanks for the feedback. Let us know what you think of it. Leomo's the same way. Like, tell us what you think. And some people are really put off. They're like, oh, the user experience isn't that great. It's there as a tool for a knowledgeable expert. It's not there to replace the expert. It's there to aid the expert. So that's number one. Number two, we spoke about this before. Work on your emotional intelligence. Like, there's books out there. Resonant leadership is one. Emotional intelligence is another. But the third thing is, you need the people that are doing big things aren't on fucking Instagram, aren't on Facebook, aren't on YouTube all the time. Like, Mike was talking about it. He's putting out 5 podcasts a week now. Like, the content level that you have to put out. And this is where I disagree with him. And who the fuck am I to disagree with him? Like, what podcast do I have? What content do I have that's reaching 100,000 people? But I just think that quantity is not the way. Like maybe it's old school. And again, we're all right.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he has the ability to put out 5, I'd love to be at that point to put that much content out. The point is like, look for the people who are actually working with the athletes. There's still a number of running coaches, the best in the world. They barely use technology. Like they do heart rate monitors, but they still go, how you feeling today? This is what I wrote. Yeah, you feel like shit? Fuck it. Let's do this instead. So going out and networking. And I know that's kind of, again, what's the connection between like going out and talk to people and look at random apps? I think this is where we're going as trainers. The future is you deciding this app would be great if we had it for this, and then contacting the developer and saying, hey, have you thought about doing this for your app? That's honestly the future. I mean, that's what it is great coaches and all these ideas. The best ideas to me come either when I'm riding my scooter, like driving a scooter, I can't text, riding my bicycle. So I take a voice memo now because that's safe. Or I'm in the shower with shampoo in my hair, like the worst possible time, like fully sudsed. And I'm like, oh man, I need to write this down. I'm like, oh shit, don't forget. But that's where it comes from. Try shit. Become connected to people. You have to connect to people. Artificial intelligence, if you have the emotional intelligence and win friends and influence people, man, everybody's got to read that book and just practice that because that's how you learn. And I think actually that's one of the things that we're missing. Everybody goes into these conversations. You're wrong. This is why the best snatch for CrossFit is this. Like, cool, dude. All right. Mine's working also. So instead of going into it thinking you're right, go into it with an open mind of, thinking, what can I learn from this? And there's so many apps. And my fiance said to me a couple of times, like, this course is so bad. She's like, why are you still spending time on it? I'm like, because you never know. I'll learn either this is the exact wrong way to present it to someone like myself, or maybe there's that one gem. And there have been 3 courses that I bought. I paid a lot of money for them. And I'm going through, I'm like, man, this is such utter shit. Like, this is awful. And I'm like, the first time I went through, I like, you know what? I'm just going to finish it. I spent $650. Fuck it. And I got to the last wrap up thing. And I forget what he said, but I was like, holy shit. I was like, totally worth the $650. The rest of it, shit.
The golden nugget. Yeah.
The golden nugget. And that, I forget what it was, but like for the next 2 months, that like radically changed what I was doing with people. I think it had to do with like the pes serene or something. I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Why did pes serene's a tiny muscle and it matters? But I think those are the big things. I know it's not a clear, definitive answer, but that's really what it's about. Look at Snapchat as the ability, hey, you're having trouble with your exercise. Instead of me having to produce a YouTube clip and upload it, go to Snapchat. Hey, dude, saw you're having trouble with your kettlebell snatch. Watch this. Hold my phone. Boom, boom. Check it out. Boom, it disappears. You have just now touched that athlete for 30 seconds and changed their life, and you've forced them to start to focus for those 30 seconds. And coaching without coaching. That's a tangent. Maybe we won't go down that road. But
yeah.
Coaching without saying stuff, letting the athlete, and that's what I really learned from Lauren is Lauren Landau was, there was this one athlete just struggling. It was just the basic one arm, one leg supported cycle through with the pawing, kind of like a B skip.
Yeah.
And he was struggling. And Lauren just kind of backed off and he's just, standing there like this. And I'm standing next to him and I was like, are you going to stop him? Like, he's really struggling. He's like, he just looked at me. He's like, no, let him figure it out. He's like, my job as a coach is to see, can he figure it out? And I was like, whoa, that's big shit.
Yeah. And
that's part of the physical literacy we're missing now. Like, I hate to say it, but rub dirt in it, take a lap. Like, that's how people, like, it's okay to be a little bit banged up. You can still keep going. If you really can't, like, those are the coaches that if you really couldn't, they'd yell at you and then be like, okay, go get first aid. And they'd be kind to you. They'd come back and check up on you. It's most of them, not on them. We had a crazy one named Nanya. I mean, great guy, wrestling coach, a little bit crazy. Like, oh, it's all right. I once ran like 5 miles with a broken ankle. Like, yeah, that's great. Go play rugby, man. No offense to those guys. I don't want the New Zealand All Blacks showing up at my door, taking me out. But like, we just have to be open to it. And embrace it and see it for good. When you put a negative connotation on something, when you go into a meeting and you're like, oh, it's going to be bad. I have to, they're going to yell at me. Nothing has meaning until you give it. So if we give the meaning of negative and pulling us backwards or taking us down a dark alley for artificial intelligence, we're going to have fucking iRobot with Will Smith running around, except he's going to have a cane or a walker or some shit trying to dig these things out. We've got to go with an open mind. And we just have to learn disconnect. And I'm so guilty of it. And, you know, if my fiance hears this, she's going to be like, you said disconnect. Like, let's get rid of it. And we just have to teach ourselves. It's all habit. You know, Charles Duhigg, there's another book. Charles Duhigg, The Power of Habit. Nir Eyal has a great book as well about the connectivity. Like reading the old school method of reading, or even Audible if you're driving a lot, that's where the artificial intelligence is going to take off. When we, the users, are smarter, that's when we're going to see like, you know, what's it called? Something's law, where it's like every so often the amount of intelligence increases. Moore's law, is that right?
Don't know, man. Yeah, sounds right. We'll roll with it. Yeah, man. This is all of it. So, you know, AI. What about you? What about the future of Menachem? What do you see the next 2 years for you looking like?
Well, hopefully with some help, get into podcasting a little bit. My struggle has been, I love creating shit, and it's just finding the resources to make it as valuable as possible. Like I've built probably 6 courses that I've just chucked because I didn't do the immersion before. The next couple of years, presenting, the USA Cycling Coaching Summit is really big. I'm super stoked to like be on that platform and just share with people. And my whole intention of going there is not to tell people this is my way of doing things. I want to have a dialogue. Like my presentation's like halfway done, and a lot of it is leaving those pregnant pauses and letting them think about it. Because that, you know, the magic, I forget who said it, but there's a magic rule where you count to 10 Mississippi after you ask a question. It takes people that long to like go through and cycle and realize, hey, I need to be involved here. But that's what I really want to do is presenting, sharing my experiences and opening the dialogue, not just to strength training for cycling, but other strength coaches out there. Like everything is good in moderation and with the right person, and helping to connect that. So as a fitness professional, my goal from day one was to help 30 million people be fitter, healthier, happier. And it doesn't mean that they're, you know, PRing. I just had a great conversation with Usher, my intern from last year, who's back again, about like, why does it matter if I deadlift 500 pounds? Like that's my goal right now. It's just for me. I'm competing for me because it's setting a long-term goal. And honestly, Eric, if I fail at that, let's say like I just pulled 400 and it felt awful. And I was pulling 470 a year ago. I'm looking at it like, if I set this long-term goal and I do all the right things, like I don't give a shit. I haven't been to the gym since Sunday. It's Wednesday. You like old me 3 years ago be like, oh fuck, all my gains are gonna go out. I'm like, cool. Like I'm living my life, and this is where functional training, and that's kind of my message, is to help people find that balance. And I think the pendulum's just swung way too much to like, you know, what's organic is healthy. No, it's not, dude. Like USDA, all you got to do to have that label, 70% of the ingredients are organic. You can have Monsanto seeds in there where, you know, the genome or the enzyme is in there that it's unlocked by the pesticide. Like, is that really healthy? But my whole thing is like holistic, starting conversations, sharing the information, building courses. Like I'm kind of like you. Like I listened to your podcast where you were interviewed, and it just hit me, man. Like all my friends, like they want money because they want to have cars or houses or travel. Like I want money so I have the freedom to just build shit. I just love building shit.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. I want to have like a balanced life. If I want to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and bitch about it because I have to get up at 6 to be on the bike at 7, then it's a choice that I'm making, and I'm just like making my future wife a little miserable or crazy. Like, you're choosing to do this, dude, as opposed to like, I have to get up because I have to pay the bills.
Yeah.
So yeah, online courses, sharing information, and starting dialogues. Like I don't want to be the person that people are like, oh, you're right. I want to write a book and just have people use it as like, not the Bible, but like as a reference. Like, oh, this worked here and here. Well, Bampa says this, so screw this guy. But he linked back to the reference. And that's what drives some of my mentors crazy. Like, why are you linking to other professionals? I'm like, I want them to buy my shit, but if this is a better professional, like what goes around comes around, man. Like you give a cent back, the you know, you're going to get 10 times back because you're just sharing. You want people to have good information.
Yeah.
It's not about being the only source. Like, share it, man. There's plenty to go around.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it, man. Obviously you and I see eye to eye on a lot of things. So, Yeah, man, I think you already have, quite a track record, but I think you have a very, very bright future, and that's good for the industry too. I think you're good for the industry. I think you're good for just humanity in general. So man, thanks for coming on the show. This is a lot of fun. Really good stuff.
Awesome, man. And there's the other guests, man. I'm still working my way through. I'm up to like 15, I think.
Awesome.
There's some fucking great shit in there, man.
Yeah, there is. Hopefully more people will listen. So,
it's happening, man. It's happening.
Menachem, thank you, man. I appreciate your time, and I know you and I will be talking soon.
Thanks, Eric.
Hey, fitness fans, don't leave yet. It's your host, Eric Malzone, and I have a quick favor to ask. Actually, 3 favors. So, number 1, if you're a fan of our show, I ask you to do something that takes under 3 minutes. Go to iTunes, please, and subscribe to our show. Please, please, please. It means so much to us. It's so important. And then give us a favorable review. We would really, really appreciate it. And I can't tell you how much it means and helps us out. So I know it takes 2 minutes of your day, and it means a lot to us. So please do that. Number 2, go to our YouTube channel, our Fitness Marketing Alliance, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel there. Number 3, if you like this episode or any of the episodes that we've released, share it on social. That's huge. That's a big deal for us. And we put a lot of work into these episodes, trying to give you great actionable content for the fitness industry. So that would mean a lot. And that's it. So we have some big plans coming up for this show. I'll be talking about that in the next couple episodes, but thank you so much for listening. It means so much. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from everybody. Eric, ERIC at fitnessmarketingalliance.com.